Um, Hello, everybody. Welcome back finally to another episode of Fellowship of the Golden Age. And here is Anu. Hey, Anu.
Hi, Neptune. Good to be back.
I know, right? And this morning I just thought, this is the only bit of preparation I did. I just thought, how long has it been since we did that other interview? And it was in September 2023. Oh,
That's 3 years, right? Even
yeah,
I wasn't sure. I thought about it and I was like, yeah, maybe it's 20. It's been a while. 3 years.
I know. And so much has changed since then. And I'm talking about inner change and everything. Like I remember that was at about the time Anu and I got to know each other we were in like a little chat group together with other Ascended Master students. And you might remember around that time, I think I went through a complete, you know, it was definitely my primal self sort of doing its thing, having a bit of an explosion. And I think I just up and left the group and everything. And
Yeah.
yeah, and I'm just think like, wow, how far have, when you can look back and just see like where you were then and where you are now. And I've only recently finally let go of the primal self. Like it's done, it's completed, and
How great is that?
it's just amazing. Yeah, it's such a relief. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, it's the last thing I want carrying with me any further. And so, yeah, I was just
Same thing with
curious.
me.
So tell me about you.
I was also, at that time, I was also going through like all kinds of stuff. It was messy. Remember, even I had shaved my head that time,
Yeah,
just a year before that. And yeah, so now I feel very different as compared to then. So that's inner change that I have also been through. So I think we're all like kind of flowing along close to each other, like kind of, in the same thing. I also feel I'm done with my primal self, but sometimes you just get triggered by certain things, but
mm,
I'm seeing myself quite different, like more relaxed, more at peace in general.
mm,
So in those days I remember there were so many days I would wake up and I was all like not in a good space, and it would take an effort to realize that, okay, I got triggered again, it's my primal self again. And now many days I get up with very like I can just choose like how I want to be. Like maybe I'm not like in top spirit, but it's just like a thought or like an inner decision that okay, why am I not, feeling good about things? And immediately I feel good. So it's
yeah.
easy now as compared to then.
So, if you could, could you pin down a belief to what your primal self believed,
Um
or even just its MO, and sort of work from there? Like, I'm just curious.
yeah. Well, for me, I think the big one has been that I am trapped here and I can never get out. Like I'm stuck here and I can never get out. And so that's kind of been even my outer situation.
I was going to say that. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So there were two things. One is that so this was also my inner drama, like one of the dramas that I was playing out, that I'm supposed to do something. Obviously I didn't realize it until much later when the masters give the teachings, but I'm supposed to do something here, and but now I can't do it because I made a big mistake, so now I can't do it, and now I'm stuck here and I'm trapped forever. So that was an unconscious trauma. Now, so it happened, it outplayed in my outer life as well, with,
Mhm.
with my son, with the family, and just kind of feeling like, in the Indian culture, it's more like, you're really part of the family. And when you have a son who is handicapped, who is autistic, you are like really in charge of the child. So there's no
Because I
escaping.
want to just add here, like, to get a hold of Anu and to just, have a nice chat, or even to do this, it has been, we were just saying, it's taken like almost, I don't know, three
three
months to
months
pin
three
down
months
a time. Like, that's how hard it is because of such huge commitments to, yeah, I mean, your life
to
really
family
is.
life. Yeah, it's difficult. It's like so that's also one of the things that I'm learning now,
Mhm.
that to make boundaries, to make space for yourself. And it ties into my own, at the identity level, the kind of self-worth I have. So, I mean, the fact is that I had very low self-esteem. So I'm always putting myself last. And you don't realize it. You just feel like, oh, I'm being selfish if I do this. I can't just think about myself.
Mm.
But over time, you realize that, no, you need to think about yourself as much as you're thinking about everybody else. So you're equal in the, so in the family. Like, for example, if there's my husband, my son, my in-laws, and myself, so I cannot just prioritize everybody else and leave myself out. And that's what I learned. That, it's okay if I prioritize myself as much as everybody else. I don't have to do it more, but at least it should be the same. So, we're all in it, and everybody deserves as much time and attention, including myself.
Mm.
So that was one of the things that I have also been working on. Apart from, the other big thing about feeling like I'm trapped here. So feelings of being trapped in the family, trapped in the role of a mother, of a wife, of being a part of the family unit, and like I can never get out. But I realized that it's not, of course, the outer things, it's the inner feeling. So,
Yeah.
how you feel inside. So, now it's become more of, and not all the time, but there are quite a few moments where I feel that, I can look at this role as an opportunity where I get to interact with different people, like people who are very different from me. And we are in such a close relationship as being part of a family unit. Like my son, who has very high needs, my husband, who is very different from me. But, we have, I think we have ties from past lives. So we have to balance that out. And of course, other people around me. So I can look at it as an opportunity that, I can make the most of it. I can balance out all these relationships and work on my own growth and my own, and feel free within myself, like being who I am, even expressing myself to the people around me, like the way I interact with my son, with my husband, with my in laws, with other people around us. So, as I change my inner sense of self, the way I interact with everybody also changes, and they see different sides of me. So, I'm less resentful, I'm less, like closed in and feeling like poor me, sympathizing with myself. Instead of that, I'm more open, I'm ready to interact, and I'm more accepting of them and myself. So the big thing I noticed was, as much as I changed, like as much inner change that I had, I could just automatically see others changing as well. Like it was literally like magic. Like I resolved something in myself, and the equation in the other relationship changed automatically. I didn't have to do anything else other than work on myself. So things just eased out with everybody, and that was really good. So that's happened in the last 2 years, 2025, 2026. These 2 years have been really good in that sense. So
Yeah.
that feeling of like, oh, I'm trapped and I need to get out. I need to get away from this situation. And that was also the reason why I started following the Ascended Masters, also, right? Where I thought that, if I do this, if I'm a good spiritual student, if I follow everything they say, I'll find a way out.
Yeah.
But of course, the masters teach us that you have the inner change and you'll feel different. So
Yeah. Wow.
that's pretty much what it is.
I mean, and how do you find time to actually just, work on spiritual studies and, actually go within and do that inner reflection? I mean, like, how do you balance that out, your spiritual inner world with the constant demands of family life?
No, I do get some free time. But the only thing is, it's not fixed. So if, like, I'll just give you an example. My son started a new school in June. So 1st June was the first day, which was a Monday, and it's 4.5 hours. So those 4.5 hours now I have free. Like, I can do what I want. Like, ideally, sometimes, if somebody in the family says, can you do this or can you do that, and I can say that yes, if it's really important, I'll do it, but I'd rather use this time for myself, because he's not around, and let me, I would like to spend 2 to 3 hours doing my own thing, whatever I want, my own spiritual stuff. And it's fine. Like, now it's fine.
Mm,
Maybe a few years back it was not so fine, it was not so okay, but now it is. And that's also a result of making boundaries and speaking out, asserting myself that I need this, it's important for me, first for myself, and also letting them know that this is important for me, I need this time. So what happened after a week of my me time? He fell sick. He got fever at night. So then he was down with some infection, like basic, like a viral infection or something. And 2 weeks or 15 days were gone in that. So no school. He was at home and I was taking care of him. So all my 5 hours of time, everything gone. So then when he goes to sleep, I get like a couple of hours, and there are a few like some therapy or some tutor who comes home in the middle. I get sometimes, so I use that. So it's so 15 days like that, and then today again he's gone to school. So today I have the time for our interview. So so I've learned over time that it's not fixed, and I should be flexible. So some days when I get more time, I should use it like best I can. And some days when I don't get enough time, it's okay. It's not a big deal. Like, just make do with that.
mm.
And that's how it is. So
So
being
how
flexible.
okay, okay. And so how would you describe, so, do you feel like, you're in that process of manifesting your personal Christhood?
Yes.
Yeah. And so how would you say that translates into your daily life? Like, is there a dividing line between, Christhood and daily life or personal life or anything?
Uh, well, there was a dividing line for sure, but it's the line is not so strong now, um, because I am realizing this now, that I'm trying to use this, the whole immaculate concept, that Mother Mary has taught us, for people around me, for myself. Because there are situations where, especially related to, it could be my husband, who is, he's away a lot, he travels a lot, and there's business and whatever. He's an entrepreneur, so he's involved in all kinds of business. And so many times, we talk about things, and I realize I'm like, there's really not much I can help him with in terms of like advice, or in fact there are things where I want him to do things a certain way and he is very different, so he does things his way. And then I realize I'm like, I cannot just try to change him. So then I step back and I'm trying to hold the immaculate concept for him, because I don't know what is the right way for him to, for to unfold, for his own unfoldment, how life is going to be for him. So I just try to hold that for him in the background. I do that for my mother-in-law because she's so different from me. She's in a different space, mental space, in every which way. And so many times I can see that, okay, this is what she's doing, which is not working for her. But then there's no point in saying it sometimes, because it's not going to help her if she's not, she's not going to take it in the right way, or it will not affect her the way I want. It's the same problem which all avatars have. We want people to do things a certain way. We know it's better for them, but so then I'm trying to be, hold the immaculate concept for her in my mind, and I do that for all of them, all my family
How would,
members.
how would you
um
describe how would you describe, when you say holding the immaculate concept, like, what is that? What is that in your mind?
um so the way I do it is I visualize what she's where she is at. I'm talking about my mother-in-law right now, because she's sick, and she's just went through a surgery. And sometimes I feel like when I see that she's not in a good frame of mind, like she's sad, she's down, she's old now, and she feels like, my life is not so good, and she's just in a down bad space, like in a sad space. I feel like, okay, I wish I could make her feel better. But then I realize, and I'm feeling stressed out thinking about how she's feeling. And then I realize, I'm like, that's not my role. Like, it's not my job to make her feel better. It's my job to just be centered. And so I've been practicing that, to stay centered and be, allow as much light that can flow through me, and just stay in my own zone, my
Mhm.
own self. And just visualizing her to be in a better space, mental, physical. And I just visualize that and allow, I just visualize that for a bit. And then I don't try to put like something specific, like I want that she should be doing this, this, and this now. Just try to do that. Like, and it's like an internal thing, and I do it by myself.
Yeah, yeah. So,
So,
did you see much of the recent, get to tune into much of the co-creation conference
yeah,
recently? Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So I'm just sort of thinking it's exactly that, isn't it?
Yes,
You're
yes,
reaching up, it's not my will, you're reaching up, and you just know it's there, that and being given like that vision, and you
yes.
just bring it down, bring it down, bring it down into the physical, and
Yeah,
that
I've
sounds,
been practicing that. That's
yeah.
exactly what I've been doing. Because in January, when my son Harman was really sick, he had a very severe ear infection, and something came over me. I'm like, I was so stressed out and worried. And then I said, let me try the healing, Mother Mary's healing, and I did that for a month for him every day for 15 minutes, because I was so worked up. And I didn't, the thing is that the worst case scenario would be a very big surgery for him, which would be in the skull, like inside the skull in the mastoid bone. And that was too, like, I just didn't want that. I mean, I don't want that happening to him. So that was a worst case scenario. And I was trying to keep it like, okay, let it be like something better than that. And so I thought, let me, instead of being in a negative frame of mind, let me do the healing. And so I started doing the healing. I did that for 30 days. And I think I learned a lot from that healing, because I tried to visualize certain things. And then when this conference came, the Kazakhstan conference came through, I think Mother Mary gave teachings which were, I think, to help me go a step further from what I was doing in that healing.
So is it like,
So
remember how, I don't know, I'm just sort of remembering parts of the dictation, which was sort of saying, it's rather than, we're working with the elementals. So rather than going in and, being that intricate builder of, how the physical or, the emotional realm or whatever it is you're visualizing for, rather than going in and having to learn every single thing and, create that vision, like, you just bring it through and let the elementals sort it out. Like, they'll know where to put all the
yes,
parts in the correct
because
place.
that's exactly what I was doing. I was
Yeah,
trying to
yeah.
do the work of the elementals. So I took a picture, I went online and I saw a picture of a perfectly healthy ear. like the middle ear, and I would visualize it because I needed to see a picture of the healthy ear, and I had seen the picture of his ear. The doctor had shown me, through a microscope, that it is so bad. Like there's a big tear in the eardrum, and it's all the way down to the bone. And I was like, oh my God, this is so bad. And so I took a healthy picture and I took his picture and I was trying to like, do that. And
Yeah.
that's when she said that, I'm like, okay, I don't need to do all this.
No,
I need
because
to.
it's hard work. And I remember you telling me a bit about it at the time. Like you were sort of kind of like, oh, it's not quite working, but um,
And then, at that time, I had to do my own healing as well because I was trying to, uh, you know, um, project my anxiety into the healing. Like, I don't want to feel anxious about him being sick, so let me heal him.
oh
But
my
my
God.
healing was all like anxiety. So
Yeah.
on one day, like I think I told you this, while trying to do the visualization, I actually got a visual of Mother Mary coming, sitting in front of me and telling me, look into my eyes, look into my eyes, just look into my eyes. And I kept looking, and she, like she was very tender, like a mother, like the way I would be with my son, she was with me, and she just kind of like fed me something, you know, which I was also sick at that time. And I felt like, okay, I think I need the healing, which is what she's giving me rather than me trying to heal him. So
Yeah.
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 But my life has been a lot about that, about people being sick and people, me being like a nurse, like, caring and tending to, especially my son, of course, he's had like surgeries and a lot of illnesses. So, and now I've reached the point where my own health is taking, like, is not working out. So all this, the conference has helped me as well, like my nervous system. And so I'm doing that for myself, doing that for everybody around me as well.
Mm,
So
mm. So do you feel like, you're at a point where a turning point where you're like before it was like you were trying to take so much responsibility of, supporting everybody around you, doing all that hard work of like, holding this intricate, visualizations for how people can heal and, like so much responsibility. Like it's almost like that's how we've been talking a lot about, this creation of a spiritual self, like, that takes us up to the 95th level and we have to sort of, actually let go of that. Like,
yeah.
yeah, I mean, I'm just curious, would you say like, that's sort of one of the major sort of letting goes that you've had to sort of address?
Yes, yes. So for me, I think this family represents Earth, like all my lifetimes on Earth. It's almost like as I let go each member of the family, I'm letting go all my past lifetimes or um, basically the planet. So I feel like I'm at the 95th. I've not crossed 96th,
Mhm.
but there are things where the big thing that I'm working on right now is I feel like I need to achieve something on the earth, like I need something. So when I came into this lifetime, I had a very strong sense or a desire that I need to do something. Like I need to do something in this lifetime. I need to do something big. And I think that was the self, that we carry when we come down, when we descend to the planet. And so I'm at the point where um, right now I feel like if I give up the idea that, oh, I have to do something on this planet, it's, I mean, I will, I'll be nothing, or it's literally like do or die for me right now. So I'm in that process where, okay, I will not die, or I will not be like nothing if I don't achieve anything on this planet. So it's like where I'm looking for something, like for some recognition or some validation, which is the self that needs some validation. And if I don't get the validation, it's okay. So I'm at that point where I'm trying to just let that go, where the desire to, receive some validation from this planet.
Yeah.
Um, so, and the other thing that's going on within me is that I'm not here to receive anything, but I'm here to give. So I can give of myself, give of whatever I want, but there's no validation I need in return, and um, I can still leave the planet without getting that validation.
Yeah. And the great thing about giving is that, you might be giving to others, but also, in that process of letting go of separate selves, you're giving up as well. So it's all giving, like, forgiving and giving to
Yeah,
others. Like
exactly.
everything is giving. Like,
Giving.
and it's sort of like, you're hanging on to the separate self. That's the ultimate, like, not giving. Like, it's like, I'm just gonna keep this for a bit longer. And there's nothing wrong with that either. But
And
um
another thing came to me, that when I was talking about where I need something from the planet, um, so like the way I'm like, I feel responsible for everybody in the family. It's literally like where I feel responsible for the suffering on the planet. It literally translates to that, where if they're okay, if this planet is okay, if my family is okay, then I'm okay. But if they're not okay, I cannot be okay. And that is something where I have to detach from, and I'm in the process of that. So the more I'm able to let go, others are suffering and it's okay and I can still be all right, the more I'm able to let go of, so that's the attachment I have with earth.
mm, mm,
Do you
yeah.
get that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I do. Yeah, well,
So and I just and it's funny because everything that is happening around me is all about me. Like I kept thinking it's about everybody else, um, but it's all about me. And it's so funny, like, you feel like, oh, if I'm not around, they cannot handle, my son cannot be okay, and I need to be there for him, and I need my husband to change, he has to change, and this has to happen, and that has to happen. But then nothing has to happen. Like, it's just that you have to give up the idea that something has to happen.
yeah.
So,
And just trust that free will work itself out. Like,
yes, exactly. Like, they will be okay if I'm not around. I don't need to save the planet. It's
mm,
literally like me trying to save everyone, and I feel like it's my job to save everyone.
mm,
Right now, it's the family. I'm stuck between, these 4 or 5 people, but the separate self says that I need to save everyone. And that was one of the teachings that Mother Mary gave like a while back. A lot of avatars have the idea that they need to save people, they need to change people, and that's why we're embodied in certain families, certain people. We need to let go the idea that we can save somebody else or change somebody else. So I think for me, that's one of the big ones. There was one more teaching by Gautama where he said that there are some of us who are done, like we've balanced our 51%, and we can even go, like we can leave the planet. But we cannot, there's something left where we feel like I cannot just let go. Like I just can't let go. You're just stuck in that limbo where you can't leave the planet for some reason because it's something unresolved in myself. And I
mm.
think that's what I'm doing, where I've not let go, and this whole lifetime is about letting go for me.
Yeah. Well, you're certainly in a situation where, like, the both the pressure, to do that is there and everything, like everything's been set up that way for you, but also the fact that you do have a lot of responsibility as well, like, and it comes both culturally and with the family and having such a high needs son. Like, it's It's massive. But you know, I look back at my own life and I just think of, you know, I went to the very bottom of, like, you know, as low as you can go, just, you know, near death, you know, even wanting to be dead. Like, you know, just, it just went so bad. And I took myself into some pretty dark corners of, you know, my own, of trauma and everything. And I think no one could have got me out of there. Like, absolutely no one could have got me out of there. And even if they did, even if Jesus came along and, you know, just performed this miracle and lifted me out of all of that, then I wouldn't have grown as I have. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And so,
Exactly. That's the same. You know, I must tell you, before I got married at the age of 29, okay? Before that, at the age of 21, I left home, my parents' home, and I went to the US to study. And I was a free bird. I studied, I got a job on Wall Street, and I was working there. I was, you know, I
I
didn't have
can't
any
imagine you on
attachments.
Wall Street. That's a really strange thing for you, but yeah.
Yeah, imagine. So I was working there, I worked for 7 years, and at the age of 28 is when I met my husband, my to be husband, and we got married. At the age of 29, the next year I had my son, and it just so happened that, I moved back to India, and that's when like life changed completely for me. Like me, who is like mother and family right now, I was just like, a young 20-year-old free, independent woman where whatever, like it was literally, I was like a overachiever in school. I did whatever I wanted, like whatever I studied, I did really good. At the job, I was doing really good. In my studies, I was very good. So whatever I did, I was very good at it. Um, but then when I got the job at the age of 24, I think it was my first year at Goldman. And I was thinking, I'm like, I have everything I dreamed of. Like from my teenage years, I'd been dreaming of that, I'll be independent, I'll be financially independent, I'll live life on my terms. And I was feeling so empty inside. Like, I'm like, I should be on top of the world, but I don't feel that way. Like, I just felt empty. So it was like literally like the material world, or like the achievements that you can get from the outside cannot really affect you inside. And then the other thing is, I started getting scared. Yeah, I had this whole idea that, oh, this is a bad world, like it's a cruel world, it's a big bad world, and I'm not safe. So I need someone to keep me safe. So I was looking for a partner who could, be like that strong person who could keep me safe in this world. And that's when I met my husband and I got
Be
married.
careful what you
So,
wish for. Like,
yeah. And then, like, so basically, that was when I had to unravel my own internal psychology and work through it. So at that time, if someone told me that, no, the world is not, there's nothing wrong with the world, it's fine. Like, it's not unsafe, it's safe. And I was in the US. I was not even in some corner in India. I was in New York City. So it's safe. But I felt that this world is unsafe. So even if Jesus came and told me that, no, it's safe, there's nothing wrong, he couldn't change my mind, because that's how I was programmed. And I had to go through the whole experience to learn. So that's what, it's the same thing where you have to go through the experience to learn for yourself. And now I can say, yeah, I mean, now after going through everything, I can say, yeah, I mean, it's safe. Everything is okay. It's no big deal, because now I've been through everything and I realized, how bad could it be? I've already been through all the bad things. So how bad could it be? And nobody has come to save me. So I have
yeah,
saved myself.
but still, you know, there's still, you know, this program running that, you know, it feels like you're sort of, you know, responsible for those around you. And because like what I saw with my primal self was that there was this sense that, I was, it was kind of like, I was playing out a particular program. And in my mind, it was so much bigger than what it really was in real life. You know what I mean? Like, it was
Yeah,
like, you know, epic, major sort of, like the world's going to end kind of stuff going on inside of my mind. But in the outer world, it was really just, regular life happening. But I'm reacting to it in that way, like, that
yeah,
with
yeah, yeah.
very, very
It's
strong.
probably with me also, like the way I react to, like, oh, he's got a cold. My son has a cold. He's got fever. Like I'm reacting this way. I know it, and I do that. Like I make a big deal out of it. So maybe it's something for me to look at.
Yeah. And what about, like that sense of also because, when it comes to sort of, having responsibility and, feeling like you're responsible for everyone, on the other side of the coin of that, like, is the sense of like, if things go wrong and inevitably they do, it's just an imperfect world, then the sense that, that means you're wrong as well. Like that's almost like the flip side of the coin that, there's this sense like, oh, I'm wrong, if you
Yeah,
can't sort of,
it is there. It's there. And also like the fear of making a mistake,
yeah.
because so there's a culture where we feel like we want to be perfect and don't want to make any mistakes, because if I make a mistake they'll catch me, like, Anu, you did this wrong, you made this mistake. And so that has been like chasing me uh, all through my married life, and I have been working on that, but it's still there to some degree, like the fear of making a mistake,
Mm.
the fear of being wrong, like being caught being wrong. Like, see, I'm not so hard on myself, or maybe I am, but not as much as before. Like earlier, I was hard on myself and hard on everybody else, but hardest on myself. So, I mean, these are things that I'm still working on. I've not gone over it completely.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's part of being in the family, which is like that. We have that culture. So, being okay with, so the way I try to do it is if somebody else is making a mistake, so anybody who makes a mistake in the family, everybody else pounces on them. So I'm the most kindest to everybody else. Like I'm lenient. I'm like, it's okay. It's just a mistake. It's not a big deal.
Mm.
So then everybody else is also more easy on themselves, and they're easy on me also if I make a mistake. So, but we have that culture in the family. And it's not just my family, in a lot of families here,
Yeah.
where
Okay.
in my country.
And is
So,
it sort of stronger, like more gender bias going on with that whole mistake making as well?
yeah, 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 of course. There's a lot of patriarchy. Yes.
Mm.
So now the way, like, the generation before me, like my in-laws, my parents, in their generation, there's a lot more like patriarchy, and it's just there. And then they are in that role, and they're in it, like my father and my mother, my father-in-law, mother-in-law, and they're in it, and they just stuck in that role. And now it's up to them, if they want to, like, if I you know take the side of my mother-in-law and say, I mean, why are you allowing this to happen? But at some degree she'll be like, no, I want it like this, but they cannot, she will not stand up for herself and say that, no, this is not okay, I will not allow it.
Mm.
So then there's not much I can do.
Yeah.
And so with the next generation, like my generation, me and my husband, it is there, but it's less, much less. So it's like goes down in degrees. And the next generation after us, it is much, much less. There's more of an equality. The way the children are being brought up now, like those who are teenagers, they're in their 20s, it's much less. but
Yeah.
it is there.
Yeah, it definitely is. There's definitely still quite a significant. I mean, even
But
even
there's been a lot of change even in my husband. I've seen
yeah.
like he the way he was earlier, and so the big change I saw 2 years ago, I told you, even between me and my husband,
Yeah.
was that I I did a lot of forgiveness and I did unconditional acceptance.
Hmm.
Um, just unconditionally accepting him and unconditionally forgiving both of us, even the relationship. And I saw like magic. He was different, very different. He was very different. Like there was some kind of like an accusatory energy between us, and that energy just disappeared. And I didn't have to do anything. I didn't even have to talk to him. I was just doing my own inner work. And one fine day, I saw the equation between us had changed. And he was just accept, like, it was literally like the vibration that I got, the energy I got from him was he accepted me for who I am. And that was exactly what I had been doing for like, I think 3 months. And after that, things have been so much better.
I know, and it's such a I don't know why, like it's such a funny thing because we're here in this world where everything appears separate and everything, and yet we're learning that it's all consciousness, it's our minds are creating our world, like everything outside of us is what's really, it's a product of our mind. So, and you just think of how it just almost seems impossible that, really what's happened is you've changed your inner world and that I guess just frees him up to sort of, not have to play a particular role or something like
Role.
it's kind of tricky because, you're trying to sort of explain like, how it happens on the outside and it seems like it's magic in a way, doesn't it? But
It
it's
was like magic.
yeah,
And,
but
it was
your
just
own
our own.
mind, like it's
So it's literally like what the masters have been saying, it just happened. And like you just work on it and it just happens one fine day like magic.
mm,
So, you know, and so it's helped. So that has helped me so much that it has helped me just relax more in everything, in every aspect of my life.
mm,
Because it's
mm.
such an important relationship, you know.
Oh
And
yeah.
yeah, and he has changed so much. I have changed so much. We went through the whole um like a roller coaster, like from when we met. I think when we first got married, the one of the first things I realized was like he needs to change. I don't know what he thought, but I like he needs to change. This is not okay. This is not okay. This is not okay. And then we outplayed that for years and years and years. And then like following the teachings, I realized that he does not have to change. Like if I can change the way I look at him, so the way I was projecting myself at him, maybe that's what he was reacting to all these years.
Hmm.
And then when I changed how I was projecting, he reacted to that. And I think even he doesn't consciously know what changed, but it just changed one fine day.
Yeah, I think we don't realize what we're doing when we do that. You know what I mean? Like we're basically sort of interfering with someone else's free will, when we're projecting that image upon them and that's how they're behaving and that should change,
Yeah.
that's good because that's what I think, and there's no true sort of, looking within and saying, well, what can I change in myself here? You know?
Yeah. This is how they should change. They should be like this and they should be like that. That's the automatic reaction. And then you realize, like, okay, and they're reacting to my energy, which is anyway like I'm giving accusatory energy out because I want them to change. It means I'm not accepting them as they are. And that's what I was doing for the longest time. And I thought I'm better because I'm right. I know better than him how he should be because this is not how he should be. He should be the way I think he should be. And he was feeling like, okay, like, why is she just, uh, you know, why can't she just let me be? And that's what he would say to me a lot. Why can't she just let me be? And so
Yeah,
then
yeah,
finally, when I let him be, he let me be.
yeah, yeah. Like I always wondered why it didn't matter what sort of friendship or whatever I was attracting to me. Like, and back in the past, the long distance past, I was attracting, fallen beings, like, intense narcissists, things like that. So it was all about them, it was them, they were the problem. And then, I began to sort of discern that sort of energy a lot better. And so I was attracting people who were sort of, a lot, um, just more and more awakened and everything. And the funny thing is like, while that mindset of still seeing, like, what it was about them that had to change, like, and not looking at myself,
Myself.
then before I knew it, that other person, more awakened person will begin playing out the same sort of actions of basically being mean to me, and
Oh,
you would have heard stories, from me along the way. Like, it was kind of like, wow, why did this person do this? And I'd be all upset about it, and it was all about them being
yeah.
horrible people. So it wasn't like a consistent single person in my life, like, in a marriage or anything. But, because I just kept changing the character, the person who came along. Well, no, actually, the actual individual that came along was different, but the character in my mind was the same
Yes.
always, and it was like, it was until my separate self had its world validated, which was like, see, people can't be trusted. Like, that was just and I had to have that validated all the time. I didn't know I did, but it was just a program. That was my primal self program that just was running this whole time. Like, people can't be trusted. And so the outer world, people have to, they ultimately, it was almost like they were like a puppet in my mind's game. Like, I'd hang on to them until they did that, something that was untrustworthy, some sort of betrayal. And yeah,
And that's what you got.
yeah, yeah. And yeah. So yeah, it really doesn't matter, like, who that person is, like,
Yeah.
our,
It
our
could be one single person, or it could be, multiple different people wherever you meet.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's, yeah, and that's amazing to be able to sort of, stick it out in the situation like with your husband where it's just a lot more consistent and you don't really get to step back and take a breath.
Yeah. So that's why everything felt like a prison,
Mm,
because life felt like a prison. I'm stuck. Like, I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this. But that's what my mindset was. And that's what I felt like. I'm stuck on planet Earth. I'll never be able to get out. So
mm,
I was just playing that out. And I mean, even now, I still have that to some degree, but I can see it. And I guess it just takes time.
mm,
Like, until recently, I thought that, oh, I'm free of it. But some problem comes up, something bad happens, something unexpected happens, and that same thing comes up, the pattern comes back, and then again you have to work on it and work through it. So it's probably ingrained from a very long time for me.
yeah,
For
for
me.
sure. And do you see it, like, I'm curious, like with Harmon, like, like, has there been much of a projection like that with him, or has he been able to teach you, like, the expectations of, whether he should change? Because, like, it's a lot more of an intense situation with, with the disability he
Yeah.
lives with.
So from one of the question and answers, I think I told you this, where um, Mother Mary had said, and obviously I also knew at the back of my mind that I probably, have signed up for this, and I've sponsored, him. So I must have signed up for the fact that, I'm going to take care of this child and as he grows. Um, so what it has done for me actually is grounded me, like grounded me a lot. So what that means is that maybe in the past I was a kind of person who would run away from situations or relationships or people, and this in this time I cannot do that. I cannot run away because I know one thing, that I would never be able to run away from my responsibility of raising him. So that means I'm with him. I know it. I know that for a fact. So I cannot run away from anything else also. So if that includes the whole family, I'm not going to do that. So that was one thing I knew. The other thing about him, he um, he has been so um, regulated emotionally, being a child, that sometimes I learn from him. Like I'm losing my temper, but he is just being kind. And you might have seen that with other kids where the adult is kind of losing it, but the child is calm and they're kind of taking care of the adult, I think. So I've been in that situation with him many times, and he has actually taught me that just being present, sometimes that's all that's needed. You just need to be present and show up, and just try to be the best version of yourself every day,
Mm.
because every day we spend so much time together, we hardly talk. There's no conversation. Like if you and me are talking, with him and me there's no conversation. There could be that he's reading my mind many times, but I can't read his mind. I can read his energy, but so it has taught me to kind of regulate myself. I don't know if that was a question you were asking, like what my experience with him has been.
No, it wasn't exactly, but what you're saying is really interesting nonetheless. Like I'm finding it really, really interesting because so what I was thinking was that so, initially you were projecting on your husband that, you see all the faults and that he should change. Whereas when you have an autistic individual and the more severe that autism is, it's
Of
more about
course.
like you can't change them, can you? Like you know what I mean? There's like such a
Oh, I did that
resistance
for
to change.
years.
Yeah.
I
You
projected on him. Even now, I project on him
but you have
sometimes.
to accept at some point, don't you? It's just like there's
Yes,
no changing. And it's like that's the lesson I learnt from so many kids on the
yes,
spectrum and everything was kind of like I liked that sense that like I won't change this for anyone else. I can't.
yes. I
Yeah.
can't. I learned that. I mean, I probably first learned that from him,
Mm.
because to actually go through the whole acceptance, it took me around when he was 8 or 9, not before that. Like almost till, and even after that, another 3 4 years of saying, like you say, oh, I accept. You're like at 100 degrees from 0 to 100. You're at 100 of non-acceptance, and then you cannot go in one go from 100 to 0. Like I fully accept it. It happens in stages.
The
So then
process
you get
per
to,
parents is huge, isn't it? It's like
yeah.
no one gives you
So
the manual for this. Like,
yeah, it took me a long time, a long time. Like I would say I was a poor student in that. Like in my 20s, I was great at academics, but I was very poor in learning to accept him. It took me a long time. I think there are other
you think
parents
you're
out
being a
there
little bit hard on
who,
yourself there? Like,
sorry,
you think you're being a little, I think you're being a bit hard
yeah,
on yourself because I've
yeah,
spoken to many parents, in your situation, and I have nothing but compassion because it's everyone else goes through a different story with a neurotypical child, you know what I mean? And there's just, the first couple of years, like you have no idea what's really
I have
going on.
no
And
idea.
then there's another year and it's still, and then there's the shock. And then, you know what I mean? Like, and before you know
Yeah,
it, they're 9 years old, 10 years old. And so,
yeah,
don't
yeah,
don't be so hard on yourself.
yeah, yeah. I know. Um, but yeah, I did project a lot, and it took time. And I think those were the lessons he was here to teach me. Because I was like, why isn't he doing this? Why isn't he doing that? He should have done this by now. He should have learned how to do this by now, you know.
Mm,
Then, yeah, I mean, he was one of the reasons I turned to spirituality.
mm,
I was earlier, I was always spiritually inclined, but I wasn't that serious. So I got serious when I realized that, okay, like no human being can really help him. I must turn to God. Only God can help him. So I must ask God to help him. So that's when I started with, learning about what is surrender all about. What is trust? What is faith? Have faith in God, people would say. I'm like, faith, but if I have faith, I want him to be healed. And what if God says he's not to be healed? He has to stay this way. That was terrifying.
mm,
But
mm.
that's exactly what happened, right? God said, no, he does not have to be healed. He's going to be like this. So I had to accept it. It was a very hard, like a bitter pill to swallow. And
Yeah.
then I'm like, another bad thing was like, I am surrendering to God, but so many bad things are happening because he would go like surgery to surgery. Like he just had an adenoidectomy. And then after that, 3 months later, he has hernia. And then 3 months later, he falls down in school and he has a cut all down to the bone.
Mm,
And we have to do another surgery. And then I go to the doctor, and the doctor says, can you like stop putting him in surgeries? I'm like, I'm not doing it, it's just happening.
mm,
And then, like, one after the other.
mm,
And then he's like stopped breathing, he has seizure. So it's like, so there's autism on one side and there's the health problems on the other side, and
mm.
everything is just bad. Like it's not, nothing good is happening, only bad things are happening. So like, what good is there in my life? Like my life is like shit. I mean, this is how I felt, for so many years. And then, like, slowly it changed.
Yeah. And I
But
liked
then
what
I
you
had to
were
go
saying
through a
about,
lot of years. Sorry?
well, I liked what you were saying about like learning from him that regulation, the emotional regulation. Like I must say, like, I didn't realize I was learning it, but you know, a lot of the time it was me trying to help kids regulate their emotions, but then once I went into that space of like where I needed some support, where I actually couldn't take on any further energy, the kids kind of held this incredible space, and I just regulated with them. Like, I discovered I didn't have to do anything all along, like other than let's just all be natural, you know what I mean? Like, stop
Yeah.
trying to force it, and to force them to fit into a box. Like, just allowed that. um
Allow them. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I learned from him
Mm,
about you just have to be in your, and I tend to like how you were taking on, like you take it upon yourself that I'm responsible for their state of mind,
mm,
whereas you are not. And so I learned that. I learned that from him. And then I was able to apply it to others, like first to myself and even others around me. Because people tend to, go down in that negative state of mind. And then I feel like, oh, it's my job to make them, make everyone feel better. But
mm.
that it's not my job. So I had to learn all that.
Yeah.
And he taught me that.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember like I had a really unique experience, and this was I was volunteering in an adult education centre with, many people of adults with many different levels of disability. And I was with probably the most disabled, and they were, yeah, autistic, but also completely wheelchair bound. Like, so, like anyone else would have said they're vegetables, non-verbal, wrapped up in a wheelchair, like, just drooling, and you had to do everything for them and everything. And we
Mm-hmm.
had one of the ones who was more able, like, and you could hear him, he was tantruming, running around, just screaming, swearing, carrying on. And you could see, the other workers, and no one could calm him down. And I was just sitting in the room with, it was three of us, two in wheelchairs and myself. And the man who was having the major tantrum, he would come in and he would start yelling and swearing at all of us. And the three of us just harmonized, and we didn't feed into that energy. We didn't try to change anything. Like, I just tuned in with them, and we just were regulating together. Like, we weren't reacting. We weren't trying to change this guy. We weren't trying to take anything from him. And you could see he went back out into the other room, screamed and yelled, and he kept coming back in and being a bit quieter. And he just came to backwards and forwards until he came in, and he just sat down somewhere nearby, really quiet. And all the workers came in and said, "How did you do that?" And we even still didn't respond to the workers. Like, it was just, and at the time, I'm sure I probably thought, like, I was guiding these people in the wheelchairs, but I think I really felt like they were sort of the masters in that situation, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah,
um,
yes. And but then it's become an interchange. Like now, so that's why I need the me time. I need the time to myself. I need the time to just kind of like shut out everything else and regulate myself. So I'm available tomorrow, mainly for him.
mm,
Because sometimes, he goes down into a spiral. He's upset, he's sad, things happen around, and then, he has his own set of challenges. He has the OCD and other stuff. So that's when I need to be regulated, and it helps him. But then when I'm down, he helps me. He does. Hmm.
what a team! How beautiful!
I feel like we're very good friends
Yeah.
from before, like from a previous life. Like I feel like he has been such a good friend of mine, and we're like friends. That's the vibe I get from him.
Hmm.
So it's nice.
Yeah, yeah. I've seen. I don't know. You probably have seen it too. Like, where they've got this technology now where some non-verbal autistic people are able to, use AI to articulate their thoughts,
Yeah.
and and people find it so funny that what they have the same thoughts and impressions and feelings that everybody else does, and but it's just there's just that element of being able to express it, in the way that everybody else expresses it. But, to understand that, someone like Harmon is no different to you. Like, there's
Yeah.
still having exactly this, the same opportunities and inner experiences too. And I
Yes,
find it
exactly.
remarkable. I
So
mean,
that's why sometimes it just feels like such a mystery. Like, his life, his purpose, like, and I feel like it's such a mystery. I don't know, like, what is he doing? What is he going to do? So that's when, I surrender. And
what is
one
he
of the things,
doing? What is he going to do? Because you
sorry?
started, well, you started off talking about, like, that sense that you've got to do something, and you've been feeling like you've been driven, and then wondering, like, well, what's Harmon doing, and what's he going to do, and really.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how it is, right? Even like what happened right now is I keep getting the sense that, don't worry about him, about his life, about his future. And I think that's my Christ self telling me that every time.
Mm,
Because whenever I start to worry about the future, like what's going to happen when I turn 60, where is he going to go when I can't take care of him, what's going to happen? So, like, I was always thinking that, the school he's in right now, it's not working out. It's not, I didn't like it that much. And I don't know, a new school just came up and he just started in June. And he's graduated from the old one, and this one has opened at just the right time for him. So that's when, like you realize that, the life is working out for him, and I really don't need to worry the way I worry sometimes. A
Yeah,
lot of parents worry, but you don't need to. And that's why you need to surrender.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So,
I know it's the big test, but you can see, that's one of the reasons why he's with you, like, to help, he's there to help you with this lesson, I suppose.
yeah, yes.
Mm,
Because he is helping me for sure. I know that.
mm,
So, but just takes time to figure out.
yeah, yeah. Well, I think we're sort of, yeah, we're at our time now to close and everything. But it's been really lovely to just sit with you and be present with you during this time today, Anu. And you're a totally different person to
Really?
yeah.
Even you are different. You've changed so much. And
Yeah.
time just flew by. Like, I don't even know what we spoke about. Like, we just spoke.
Well, we'll just have to watch this again when I post it.
Yes, so it was really nice
Yeah.
speaking to you,
Yeah.
Neptune. We'll
Yeah,
catch up again soon.
definitely, definitely. Okay, so bye everybody, and we'll see you again when we see you.
Bye.